Okay, come, let's resume. Now, if I'm not wrong, we started with chapter number 13, and in chapter number 13, we are done with 1, 2, and 3 parts, correct? This much only, no? Okay, you took print out good. Once you have not taken tape, or write, do whatever you want to, but do something. Huh? 20 rupees is done. Then, now, next what we have are nothing but duties of an audit. Acha, now see. Next that we have is duties of the CAG. We have already done the provisions of CAG. Now keep hearing properly. Now when you talk about nothing but the CAG, yesterday we saw CAG is appointed by POI, removed by POI, terms and conditions by POI and all that. This question specifically is talking about the. Now listen, when you talk about the duties of the CAG of India, firstly, just like normal auditor's duty is given under the Companies Act 2013, like that, CAG's duty is given under the CAG Act 1971. So, normal auditor's duty given by Companies Act, CAG's duty given by CAG. Up till now, whatever questions we have done now, first try to find the duties from those questions, then I will tell you the new ones. What was the first question that we did in this chapter? Correct. Audit of a government company. Now my simple question. If the CAG is not satisfied, then what does he do? Which audit does he carry out? Supplementary audit. What is supplementary? Correct. Either by himself or correct. It means, can I say definitely it is his duty to do audit of a which company? Correct. So first is audit of a which company? Government company. Now, after audit of a government company, use common sense further. Then we did government audit. What was there in government audit? How many elements were there? 3. Correct. Which 3? Expenditure, receipts, stores, and stocks. So next will be nothing but audit of expenditure. Then there is audit of what? Receipts, and then there is audit of what? Stores and stocks. Up till now, whatever I have told, can I say this is not something new? This is something which we already know. Now, what I will tell you will be nothing but the new ones. In totality, there are 7 duties. Now, focus. Next, what he has to do is nothing but the CAG, he has to compile and submit the accounts. Now, when I say compile, what do you mean by compile? Collect, put them together. What do we mean by submit? Give. To whom will it give? Depends. If it is regarding the CG, then Parliament. If it is regarding the SG, then the Governor. Correct. So he has to compile and submit the accounts. Thereafter, what he has to do is he has to carry out general provisions relating to audit. Now, when I say general provisions relating to audit, in this there are 3 things that he has to do. One is expenditure. He has to check whether the expenditure is properly incurred from CFI. You know what is CFI? It stands for Consolidated Fund of India. What? Consolidated. Just a fancy name. There's nothing great about it. What is Consolidated Fund of India? It is nothing but the fund of the country. So whatever money has to be received or deposited into nothing but the country's account, then it has to go to a fund, and that fund is known as what? CFI, which stands for what? Consolidated Fund of. Correct. Now, every state and the central, they will have to maintain books of accounts. So CAG will have to check whether BOAs are properly maintained or. And lastly, CAG will have to check that everybody is maintaining which funds? Contingency funds. What do you mean by contingency? Emergency. Correct. If there is nothing but a state of emergency anywhere, then obviously the CAG will have to check whether the contingency funds are being maintained or not. Now, your accounting standards are done. If your accounting standards are done, you are definitely should have an idea about government grants, which is covered by AS 12. Government grants, simple example, cash, subsidy, or they may give nothing but money with respect to buying a fixed asset. Yes or no? So who gives government grants? Government. CAG is auditing what? Government. So if the government is giving a grant, here it is known as grants and loans. Whether I say grants and loans or whether I say government grant, meaning is one in the now use common sense. These grants and loans, who is giving? So there has to be some sanctioning authority. No? So who will check? CAG. What? Whether the sanctioning authority has properly sanctioned or correct. Not only that, if the government is giving subsidy to anybody, now who gave to a particular company? So CAG will have to check whether that company has received or not only that. If the government is giving a grant, they are giving for a certain purpose. No? CAG will have to check whether that purpose is satisfied or not. Correct. Sometimes I hope that the government may give nothing but some money for the purpose of say making of a hospital. Then eventually I hope that will have to ensure as a CAG whether it is utilized for the purpose of making a hospital, not a hotel. So basically it is your duty as a CAG to check two things. One, firstly the grants and loans, whether they have been properly sanctioned by the sanctioning authority or not. And secondly, it is receipts and expenditure of the grants and loans. What do you mean by receipts and expenditure of the grants and loans? Correct. Whether that person has received that grant or not, and whether they have expended that grant on nothing but the same purpose for which the grant was given. Can I say these two are related? Because we are both regarding what? Don't get confused between this receipts and this receipts. They are separate. That receipts is for government. This is for grants and loans. There is a difference. Don't also get confused in this expenditure and this expenditure. That expenditure is of the government only, that we did yesterday. This expenditure is for grants and loans specifically. Is this much okay? Let's see. Have you done 7? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So how many duties are there? Come on, tell me one by one. First is next. 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 Audit of? In the general provisions, how many things are there? 10, no? Which 3? Then expenditure should be equal from what? What is CFM? Acha, and lastly? Acha, next is? Next. Next. And the last? Audit of receipts and expenditure of grants and loans. Is this okay? Now, this normally is asked in the examination for somewhere around 8 to 10 marks. Although nowadays they are not asking full-fledged of 10. So even if it comes minimum, it may come for 6 to 8. So on an average, you can expect for 6 to 8 to 10 marks. That depends. Whatever marks, answer will remain the correct. Now, since it's an important question, there is a key. Correct. The key is like this. CG, SG, RRG. Now, what is CG? Semi-government. SG? RRG? Regional Rural Government. Acha. Is there anything like regional rural government? No. That is RRB. That is nothing but regional rural banks. But there is nothing like RRG. But I was just made because ultimately I wanted to make key. Initially the key was something else. It was CG, SG ruled by Rahul Gandhi. RRG. But then suddenly I realized I thought that is nowhere close to reality. So then I changed it to regional rural government, which makes more sense, even if it is not so reality. Now, what stands for what? Can you help me? C stands for compile and submit. So C gone. Then G stands for general provisions. So G gone. Correct. S stands for stores and stocks. Correct. So S gone. Then grants. No, don't take that grants. Take that at the end. G stands for government company. So this G gone. Then R stands for correct audit of receipts. So this R gone. And this R is for receipts and expenditure of grants and loans. And lastly, this G is for grants and loans. See, this is how you get CG, SG, RRG. Manageable? Finish. Go to the key chart and write. The numbering will be different in the key chart. I'm writing how you have to write in the key chart, the numbers. The key chart write of duties of the CAG and then CGSDRR. In the morning today. Tomorrow. Right. He wanted an evening free. So,
कल अनीता सुबह आई थी और आज मैं सुबह आ रही हूँ और कल ये शाम को आई थी।
तो इससे क्या पैटर्न क्या है, ट्रेंड एनालिसिस क्या करना है को इसमें ऐसे ऐसा हम लोग के पास भी होना चाहिए ऑप्शन, जब मन करे तब जाओ। Done? Yeah. Come and read that entire answer, please, which is there. This is what are the duties of the CAG of India, as per nothing but CAG Act 1970. finish reading and keeping it this also, and you, if you have the printout also, you can read from there, it's not an issue. Ready? Shall I? Very manageable, yeah. Nothing great. Okay. If we come to our scope, where did it go? Yeah. Can I say 1, 2, 3, and now fourth also done? So now we come to nothing but special points for audit in a which form? I'll do partnership form and sole proprietor together because both of them are voluntary type of audits. So I'll take up both of them together. Sole proprietor will have to do it from the textbook, but that is fine. Firstly, can you help me regarding partnership form? Partnership form is a which type of an audit? Statutory or voluntary? Can you tell me the reasons why partnership might be doing audit? One more. Not? Why do the partnership firms do audit? Correct. It is basically to avoid the disputes or nothing but to settle the disputes if existing. So ultimately, you don't want any disputes among the partners. Since you don't want disputes among the partners, it is better that there is clarity with respect to accounts. And therefore, what you do is nothing but auditing. So one of the advantages for the partnership firm why to audit is very simple: to nothing but avoid disputes or to settle the disputes if they are existing in nature. Now, if you are the auditor of a partnership firm, who has appointed you? Partnership firm, correct, partners. What all points will you check is what is the question asking. Because did you understand question? Now think and answer. What all points will you check? Correct. What you'll have to check is the partnership deed. And in that partnership deed, you'll have to check the names of the partners, the business that the partnership is going to do, because only whatever is written inside the deed is something what is allowed to be executed. So you as an auditor will have to check whether the business is as per the deed or not. Not only that, can they modify the business? Yes, they can. But they can modify the business provided they modify the deed. So you as an auditor will have to check that if the business was modified, then before that, whether the deed was modified or not. Correct. What else?
The profit sharing.
Correct. Profit and losses has to be divided in the partners in the agreed PSR. Correct. What else will you check? Capital contribution, interest, role of partners. Hmm? No personal in the P&L. Okay. Then correct. Whether the books of accounts have been properly maintained or not. Correct.
If there is no partnership, then the things are maintained and the partnership comes from 5 to 6 points, interest, drawings.
Then who is appointing you? So they may have given you a letter of appointment. No? In that letter of appointment, can you tell me all the terms of engagement should be present, but who should sign? Partner. All the partners will sign or authorize. So ultimately, auditor will have to check whether it is signed by the authorized partner or not only that. Partnership is what? It is beneficial to all, or it is beneficial to one, loss making to others. Either it is beneficial to all, or it is loss making to all. It cannot be a situation where beneficial to one, correct, and loss making to others. Now, this is not proper. This is known as prejudicial. What is prejudicial? Correct, harmful. In other words, biased. So auditor will have to check that whatever is the partnership, it should not be prejudicial to the interest of any partner. Either it should be beneficial to all, or it should be loss making to all. Correct. If the partnership is good, then definitely there may be chances they may be making profits. But if they make profit, they'll have to pay tax. But if they make taxes, first they'll have to make a provision, correct, for taxes. So auditor will have to check whether provision for taxes have been made or not only that. You as an auditor will also have to check the minutes book of the meetings of the partners to check the policy decisions which are taken by the partners, like capital contribution, like interest, like loans if they want any for nothing but future purposes. So what all points basically to check? Focus, because then you will have to answer. Firstly, what you'll have to check is nothing but the letter of appointment which is received by the auditor has to be signed by the partner who is authorized. Thereafter, the books of accounts whether they have been reasonably maintained or not. Minutes book in order to check the policy decisions which are taken by the partners. Partnership deed to check whether the business that they are carrying out is authorized by the deed or modified, if any. Thereafter, the interest of no partner should suffer prejudicially. Thereafter, if they are making good profits, they should make provision for taxes before dividing the profits. And lastly, the profits and losses must be divided to the partners in their agreed PSR. So, how many points are there? 7. Tell me one by one. What is the first one? Letter of appointment should be signed by. Then books of account should be reasonable. Then minutes book to check policy decisions. Then partnership deed to check the business. Then interest of no partner prejudicial. Correct. Then provision for taxes should be made before dividing the profits. And lastly, it should be divided in the agreed PSR. This is okay. This comes in the examination for 6 to 8 marks. You have to write 7 points. Can I say definitely manageable? Is there. This is that answer. See, special points in a partnership form. First, if you see, there is letter of appointment. Then there is which book? To check policy decisions. Then the business should be authorized. By which deed? Partnership deed. Books of account should be reasonable. Interest of no partner should suffer prejudicially. Provision for taxes should be made before dividing the profits, and profits and losses should be divided in PSR. Manageable? Read the entire answer now. Carefully. This watch is fine. Done. How many still reading, if any? Shall I? Okay. This was your audit of which firm? Now, sole proprietor. Think and answer. Sole proprietor, again, if at all they are doing an audit, it is of which type of an audit? Voluntary audit. Can you tell me the reasons why sole proprietor might want to do an audit? Correct. For tax, obtaining loan. Sorry. Efficiency to get loans. Then disputes with third party, like there's one more thing. You think the sole proprietor might be writing the books of accounts on his own? Correct. He must have kept accountants. Now, if he has kept accountants, sole proprietor also will want to check whether those accountants are writing the books properly or not. No? So it is better to get the financial statements audited so that you come to know whether the accountants which you have kept to write your books of accounts, whether those accountants have committed any misstatements or not. So eventually, if they have committed any frauds, that can be nothing but definitely unearthed if at all you people do nothing but auditing. Now, do you understand? So basically, from the sole proprietor's point of view, it is very simple to avail loans, do nothing but mobilize, extend the business, to have a goodwill, or if he dies, this business has to be handed over to somebody. But if it has to be handed over to somebody, it has to be clarity what is left and what is not. And for that, you require audited financial statements, not your normal financial statements which are unaudited. And definitely, it will help nothing but in order to know whether the accountant has committed any fraud or not. Manageable? Come. In examination, advantages come. Advantages come for tax payable, MAT, tax, provision for tax, whether you don't know anything of tax. So it is whether a provision for tax has been properly made or not. He's asking 6 point. Can you imagine? This one. Where will you come? You can't come. That is the best place that you can come now. Only go where I am taking, don't go here only. Sole proprietor is last, right? Somewhere behind. Page number 550, please. Did you find it?
Yes.
If you come to page number 530, what you'll find that is audit of a sole trader. Did you get it? Okay, this is nothing but the introduction part, the first part, and then they have given benefits or advantages, I think. This is introduction. Yeah, see, these are the advantages. This I'm talking about. This they ask in the examination for 3 to 4 marks. There are nothing but 4 points only. Very manageable. Come on, read the entire. First the introduction and then the advantages. Finish introduction first. Not entirely, only a certain part. For example, something like a stock audit. हो रहा है क्या उसका सेटिंग? तरीका हो रहा है। Is it possible for so long? ऐसा नहीं आ रहा है। और कोई hey, come on, yeah, manageable, yeah. This reference we will have to write in this list here. That this where you have to refer from. Don't worry, that reference list I'll give you together at the end, so that you can write this answer from where, this answer from where. Just as you have seen here, I have written from notebooks. So here obviously I'll give nothing but the reference of nothing but that table. All good? Okay, come. Next, what we have is nothing but a 5-in-1 question. It's a long one. When I say this 5-in-1 question, basically it has 5 institutions together. Which ones? Education institutions, hotels, hospitals, cinema halls, and NGOs. Correct. Now, when you talk about nothing but all of these organizations, first you tell me that all of them are in the same business or different. Different. Can you get audit of them? Yes. If you get audit of them, what you have to check is the financial statement, simple classification, P&L balance sheet. So what do you check? You check incomes and you check assets and. But now my simple question to you, it is obviously you'll check 4 things, 1, 2, 3, 4. Agree? But before you check the FS, there is something more that you need to check. That you have to tell me. Huh? MOAOA, correct. Why? Correct. You should know the nature of the business, the operations that they are carrying out, their objectives, whether they are in line or not. So can I say definitely before you check the financial statements, first what you need to check is the MOA, AOA, minutes book to know the policy decisions and the objectives of the company. Once you know that, then you check the systems. How many systems? 2 systems. Which 2 systems? AS and ICS. Correct. Once those 2 are done, then what you check is the financial statements, which is nothing but your P&L and balance sheet. Now do you understand? So first there are general points. General means what? They will come for every organization, irrespective of which organization you are checking. Now when I say every organization means all the 5. Which 5? Education, hospital, exactly. And which 2 general points are there? 1, MOA, AOA, minutes book, and then ICS and AS. Those 2 will come for 1, 2 organizations or all. Acha, now we go to financial statements. Let us go organization by organization. Firstly, educational institution, tell me the incomes. Correct. Income from fees, then fines seems to have paid. Then donations in huge numbers. Donations, government grants, subsidies, correct. Then correct. Income from canteen, most of the time where you work. Then income from rents, correct. Why income from rent? They let out, no, they let out nothing but over their auditorium, their playground. It is not used the entire year. Using entire year, people will study. They are not doing CA. So basically, over life, eventually they can let out, correct. So it is income from rent. And lastly, other incomes. What is this other, like you, sundry? Expenses, tell me. Salaries to staff, electricity, water. So that is known as repairs and maintenance, correct. Then books, etc. Correct. We have given you such a big book. So that printing and stationery. Then okay. Events, okay. Then bus, okay. Rent, correct. Then
Some license fee.
that is the next one.
Some license fee.
License fee. Then I'm asking about expense. You are telling me about assets. You should have common sense. License is an asset. Furniture is an asset. That money that you are setting out is investment. Dash. You chartered accountant. Hello, letter perfect. Tell me now. Which expense is it? Canteen. Correct. Okay, you have not got no ever. So you don't realize it. It is awards, prizes, and scholarships. Correct. So ultimately, there the expenditure is. And lastly, other expenses, which is sundry. Now, what about assets? Correct, furniture, land and building. Then if they have correct buses, etc. Then if they have laboratories, then that computers, etc. When in schools, etc., we are very interested to go because it was kept in AC. So like that, things like that. Now use common sense. What do you check there? Whether it is properly valued or existence or not, right or not. Any charges created or ICS is there or then it is there or not. Existence I already told. FRF, correct, followed as per FRF and correct, should be recorded properly. This answer is similar to something. Verify, correct. It's one in the same. Now you should just have common sense, correct. Now that is popular. Now if your assets answer is same, your liabilities answer also will be. So what were liabilities first? Same 1-to-1. Valuation exists. This was right. Obligation, charge. On the asset. For the liability, ICS, FRF, and last if you remember contingent liability, which is as per AS 29, same points. So can I say assets and liabilities for all the organizations will remain the same? So what are the only points of differences? Incomes and expenses, right? Is this okay? Now, education institution finished. Now let's get out and where will we go? Hotels and some hotels. By the way, you're not talking about hotels where you go to hog only. You're talking about hotels where you go to stay also. Yeah, that boating and lodging type of it. Come on, tell me about that. Incomes, please. Correct. Room. Correct. So it is room rent because you occupy a room. Sorry. Okay. Then. Correct. Income from restaurant. Correct. Food and beverages. Then. Correct. Something which is known as other activities, salon, spa, etc. Fair enough. Then bars. Oh, food and beverages and beverages. Then correct. Income from rent. And then you already told room rent, then why rent again? This rent is separate. This is known as income from other rent. Which other rent? Like there is a banquet hall. You want to hold conferences. So if you people take that on rent, then that income from rent. And lastly, expenses tell me. I will tell you two. Salaries to staff and repairs and maintenance. I'll tell you one more. Others. Now don't tell me this. Tell me something new on earth. Cash. Array, that electricity and all will come in maintenance something.
Renovation expense, restaurant
Okay.
expense.
Restaurant expense. Correct. It is known as income from groceries and cutleries. If you want to run a restaurant, you have to basically get that supplies of the restaurant. Cleaning, okay, room service.
Taxes paid.
How do we do the booking in the current times? If you do online, what do you think that the hotels have to pay to the online portals? Correct. Portal charges is known as commission. So they have to pay a cut of the commission to the portal charges. So when you pay that commission to the online portals, then that becomes an expenditure for the hotel. Now do you understand? Acha. And lastly, others, assets, same points, liability, same points. Only thing that we discuss is incomes and expenses. Correct. Vegetables, etc. Like this you write here, vegetables. Vegetable you will write. Arey, this, then you will give breakup also of vegetable. Vegetable लिखते हैं कोई है. अच्छा, now from the hotel, if you eat, you may, fall sick. Hospital well. Arey, you have to go to hospital. Let's go to the hospital now. Come on, hospital incomes please. Patient? Patient is income. That's why the PNL credit I must say. Huh? Sir, first check what has happened. Correct. That is known as which charges? Consultancy. First show no what has happened. Directly you'll go to hospital. Room. You're that desperate to get admitted. So once you just go room, no check, room. It's a hospital. Come on, tell me. Consultancy is one. Correct. Then selling 500 medicine in 10,000. I'm not asking your income. I'm asking hospital's income. Correct. Canteen, then room rent, sale of medicine, pharmacy, then income from conducting tests, various surgeries, tests, etc. Then there's one more, main one. Others. Donations. They get donations, government grants, subsidies in huge numbers. So ultimately donations, etc. Come on, tell me expenses. Repairs and maintenance, salaries to staff, others. Other than these things. Rent of the equipments, correct. It is known as medical and surgical equipments. Those syringes, etc. It's a revenue expense. Can you have one syringe for everybody?
No, sir.
Then is thanks for absolutely correct. So that is an expense. Then what other expense? Ambulance, fair enough. Income from canteen is gone. You stay there. Other?
Yeah.
In fact, it's a huge income. People who actually go to visit, they visit secondarily. First, very, very simple standard operating procedure. Washroom, canteen, patient out. This is how it is followed.
Hiring other doctors.
Correct. It is known as honorarium to visiting doctors. Supposing if you people don't have that particular type of a doctor there to carry out nothing but an operation or a surgery, you hire from outside. Correct. What else? There is something which is very important. Thanks, waiting. That's capitalized. Still, there is some expenditure regarding online portal like Practo. Something more. When you are talking about a hospital, what do they generate? What do hospitals generate? when you are treating patients, what do you generate? Huh? Will money generating human waste. So when you generate that waste, what do you think? That ultimately all the doctors will take nothing but waste home at the end and they will show, see how much I worked. No, no. So ultimately, what do you do of that waste? Dispose, correct. There are contractors which are held for disposal of that waste. So basically, that is a huge expense for a hospital, which is known as disposal of wastage, correct. And sometimes the hospital they have a separate wing for dash and dash. I gave you a hint. Sometimes the hospitals have a separate wing for dash and dash.
The donations.
किसके लिए अलग? You think like this only in the morning here. Small say bloody dead bodies they have separate wing and all here. Refrigerator. Other refrigerator. अरे रिसर्च तुम सलाम मार रहे हो यार उसको. Correct. Latest development. Correct. So it is nothing but known as research and other expenses. Please. Now enough of hospital. Get out of the hospital. Once you are out of the hospital, let's go and watch a movie then. Cinema halls. Tell me, incomes please. Correct. Income from tickets. Then popcorn. We cannot write like this. Income from popcorn. Food and beverages. Correct. Then parking. Correct. Then one more.
Rent, private screening.
Okay.
Screening charges. Expenses. Ad revenue.
Correct. It is income from advertisement. See, whenever you go to nothing but watch a movie, I hope in the theaters, I hope there are many products which are advertised. Not only that, when you even go to watch a movie, the movie they advertise, no, their products. So when the product is advertised, it is not something free. You have to pay money to them. So that is income from advertisement and others. Expenses then. That screening expenses which you told. Then maintenance. Then correct. It is nothing but again commission to online portals or nothing but doing online bookings. Manageable NGOs. Correct. Here so it is very simple because it is for you. Correct. So donations, then subscriptions, membership, donate government grants, etc. Acha, one lastly that it can be used. Sometimes what they do is they collect the money, they invest that money. When they invest that money, on that investment, what do they get? Interest. So that is interest and dividend income. Correct. And others. Tell me expenses. Hardly many will be here. See, there will not be salaries to staff. There can be represent maintenance, but major expenses, project expenses, or you can say program expenses. For example, every NGO will have an objective, correct? For example, say ultimately you have an objective of nothing but say cleaning up beaches. So ultimately, if you want to clean the beach, there will be expenses which will be incurred. There will be nothing but some equipment that you'll have to buy. There will be some revenue expenditure in case of traveling or then food, etc. So all this together will become nothing but which type of expense? Project expenses. So all project expenses are the most important expenses when it comes to NGO. More than that, ultimately they will not have any type of other expenditure. Manageable? Sports club. Sports. Tell me income source, membership. Bus one. Sports club. Okay.
Events.
Events, okay. Then खाना तो बोलो. Canteen, correct. Then two incomes. Expenditure. Income from rent. What else? Rent is primary, no? Supposing if you talk about nothing but a sports club, I hope they also let out So when they let out, for them letting out is nothing but a huge income also. So it is nothing but income from rent there also. Expenses?
Sports
Correct. Sports equipment, correct.
Prizes.
Revenue, prizes to be given, correct. Sports accessories, correct. Tournament conducts at club, okay. Maintenance, correct. Salaries to staff, other expenses. You can write 3 to 4 or no? Definitely possible. Assets, same. Liabilities, I know. Only once I finish. In between L. Now, हाँ? इसको वो सेपरेट विंग में लेके जा आना तेरा डेड बॉडी वाला लेके जा दोनों को डाल दे ना तू क्या कर रही है ओए नो 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 once I finish now when you talk about nothing but when you talk about nothing but all these organizations in the examination, normally the question is asked for 6 to normally what they do normally, but you know institute how they are. I mean, they normally will ask for 8 points. If they ask for 8 points, you'll have to write all the elements. When I say all the elements, you know how many elements are there? 5. 4 are these 1, 2, 3, 4, and there were general points. How many general points were there? 2. So what you correct? MOA, OA, minutes book, AS and ICS. So how many general points? 2 general points. So now what you will have to do is points number 1 and you will have to write on points number 3 and you will have to write on points number 5 and you will have to write on point number on point number. So can I say all the 5 elements for how many points? But see, you are only writing how many point? 1 point for and only 1 point for. We cannot only write one point. Then what do? We merge and write. So we will combine and write. We don't want to increase the number of points, but we can increase the content of the point. So what do? We do 3 in 1. You understand? 3 in 1. So we will combine 3 points of what? Assets and write as a single point. So ultimately, first we will write whether the assets are properly valid or not, paragraph. Whether they are in existence or not by contingent agent, paragraph. Whether ultimately it is a right of the organization or not, full stop. So actually there are 3 points, but we have written as a single point. This is okay?
Yes.
Come and take. Come to the notebooks. Come. We have written all those 5. See. That boy, you are irritating me. Huh? Now I'll throw you out and this woman also out. And I'll throw you with too much amount of vigor also. To the time that I'm not disturbed, I don't care about you too. But while the time that you will disturb my class, I will throw you out already. Keep your dash shut. You and you also, female. You should be also. Shameless. Come here to become chartered accountant. Huh? Till the time the noise does not come, I don't care what you to do. I should not get disturbed, my class should not get disturbed. Lady. The time that my class get disturbed, I'll bloody dash you out. One noise from you and get out. Read. Why there are lines like that in your notebooks? Why it is like lines like that as from printer? But see, I have written it in tabular format, as you can see. Basically, incomes and expenses and the type of organization. In examination, are you going to write like this? In examination, how will you write? Point wise. How will you write? For example, if I tell you about nothing but this first one, how will you write? How will you form a statement? Can you tell me?
Solutions are like have as follows. Income from education institutions are as follows, and then you get expenses from education institutions.
But then how will you make a statement? You'll write like this: income from tuition fees dash like that. No, you have to form a statement. Statement like the auditor has to verify the income from tuition fees by checking the what? Copy of receipts. See, whatever I've given you in brackets is what? Which is correct. It's a supporting document. So eventually, I hope at least once you write a statement, obviously it should end with by checking the, by verifying the, by vouching the. Any word will do, that is okay, because eventually it means one and the same. So basically, how will you form a statement? Supposing if I tell you donations, then how will you write for donations? The auditor should check the income from donations by checking the correct, checking the receipts and the letter of acknowledgement, like that. Now do you understand? Read. You understood the second one? See, normally I told you they will ask for how many points? 8 points. Then I showed you the presentation also how you should do it for those 8 points. But supposing if they don't ask you the number of points in the exam, then you will have to answer with respect to the marks which have been allocated to that particular question. So if they ask you for say somewhere around 6 marks, then you write 8 points. But if they ask you for 8 marks, then 10 points. In other words, it should be 2 points more than the marks which is allocated. Is this okay? So if we just come here where in the list, can I say this 5 and 1 is thanks for? Acha, other thing what is thanks for coming is a club. Actually, this club is a homework. Actually, I did not want it to do it with you. I wanted to give it as homework because once you know these 5, you can easily answer something like a club. No? Reason, it is on the very same lines, absolute same lines. Hardly there is any difference. Just 1 or 2 incomes and expenses here or there and it becomes same. Manageable, but still that club is there in the textbook. Come to the textbook. I want you to read it from there. Comes. $511. And you will see the unfortunate event again occurring, where there is a heading only on that page. Yeah, thereafter you have all this income, expenses, etc. Did you see? Just read once. Obviously, you can write in your own words as how we have basically presented, but at least read it once. You understand counterfoils, no? What is counterfoil?
Or receipt kept by the seller.
Yeah, documents just get.
Or receipt kept by the seller.
Part of the receipt kept by the seller. Normally what happens is वो carbon copy के नीचे कभी कभी वो भी नहीं होता. That also you can take. That is basically a copy. Once there is a full receipt, sometimes they give it that half part and half part is with you. That is known as a counterfoil. relax for some time. Okay. Next, what we have are nothing but two related questions. One is on nothing but cooperative society, other is on multi-state cooperative society focus. Now, when you talk about nothing but this cooperative society and the multi-state cooperative society, this is covered by the year. Anybody? 1912. This is covered by the year 2002. What is left hand side? Cooperative society. Now, when you talk about the audit of a cooperative society, it's a which type of an audit? It's a statutory audit or a voluntary audit? Statutory audit. It is not a voluntary audit. It is covered as per the provisions of Cooperative Societies Act 1912. You know what main you have to understand here? What main you have to understand here are two things. One is qualification and the other is appointment. Two things very precisely you need to understand. Firstly, we will talk about which society? Acha, cooperative society first we'll talk about. Anybody? Qualification? Chartered accountant. You think that there will be no difference in qualification, and that becomes an important question. You understood what I meant? If qualification was same only, chartered accountant, it will be important question. No. So obviously there will be something. When you talk about an auditor of a cooperative society, definitely a chartered accountant, but important is not only a chartered accountant. Other people can also become auditor of a cooperative society. Now, which other people? Not you. When I say other people, what I mean is nothing but any person firstly who is having a diploma in cooperative accounts. Now, what is this? It's a course, just like CA is a course. So ultimately, what you do is nothing but you do diploma in cooperative accounts. If you people do diploma in cooperative accounts, then ultimately you are qualified to audit which society? Achha. Similarly, if you people have worked in a cooperative department of the government, then also you are qualified to do auditor for which society? It means cooperative society auditor qualification has to be a chartered accountant only? No. Can it be somebody else?
Yes.
Who somebody else? Any per who is holding a diploma in cooperative accounts, or any person who has worked as an auditor in which department? Cooperative department. So my simple question: is it only a chartered accountant? No. Is it someone else? Yes. So how should your answer start? Apart from a chartered accountant, any person who is holding a diploma in cooperative accounts or any person who has worked as an auditor in the cooperative department of the government. Now do you understand? Now this was the qualification of a which society auditor? Cooperative society of auditor. Doubt. Next is appointment. That eventually he is appointed by who? The cooperative society auditor is appointed by registrar of cooperative society, which in short is known as ROCS. What? So who appoints? ROCS. Who is he appointing? Auditor. Of which society? Now, once the auditor does an audit, he will have to submit the report, no? He will submit the report to whom? ROCS. And to the society. Exactly. And will he be paid fees? Yes. Who will pay fees? Society. But decided by whom? ROCS. Correct. And that depends upon the level of the society. So depending from society to society. Is this okay? Tell me. Qualification, tell me. How did I stand? Apart from a chartered, any which a diploma in corporate or his colleague to become audit of a corporate society or any per who has worked as an audit in a corporate department of the government is colleague to become an audit of a corporate society. Qualification done. Appointments appointed by registrar of report submitted. Fees paid by decided by according to the level of the society. Is this much okay? Now we come to MSCS. What is MSCS? Multi-state cooperative society. What is the difference between this two? Correct. This has only in one particular state. This has in more than one state. Correct. So whenever there is a cooperative society which has nothing but its objectives and presence, which is nothing but in more than one state, then that becomes a which type of a society? Multi-state cooperative society. Now, again, first we need to understand qualification. Come on, tell me. Correct. Only a chartered accountant. That's the difference. See, they easily ask this and they have asked also previously, incorrect. They will tell you a statement like this. The auditor of a cooperative society has to be a chartered accountant only. False. The auditor of the multi-state cooperative society can be a chartered accountant only. Right. So basically when you talk about MSCS, the qualification is only a, and when I say chartered, obviously it goes by default. Which chartered? Practicing CA. I'm not talking about non-practicing. You have to hold a what? Now, this was regarding qualification. Now comes appointments. Firstly, the first auditor. Which auditor? First auditor. First auditor of what? MSCS. It has to be appointed by the board of directors, and the board of directors will appoint within a period of 1 month from the date of registration. Thereafter, once it is a subsequent auditor, it will be appointed by the members. And every auditor, whosoever is appointed, will have a term. The term is from the date of appointment till the conclusion of the first AGM. And this is for the first auditor, and thereafter till the next AGM. No, only till the next. One to next. You can reappoint again. There is no stopping here. There is no term, etc. Similar to company audit, but not exactly the same. But obviously, you should know. Provided your quali, it means you should not be disqualified. So it is subject to disqualification. If you become disqualified in between, then from here only it stands for. Is this okay? Not only that. Once here there are qualifications, here there are also. They were not here, but they are here. Now, what are the disqualifications? See whether it seems similar or not. Firstly, a body corporate. Okay. Officer or employee. Okay. It's similar, no? Something somewhere. Correct. 141.3. If you remember, can I say first was a body corporate, which is a company, then officer, employee, partner or employee of the officer, employee. Oh, same. Anybody who's indebted or who's a guarantor. Securities is not there. Indebted amount. You know how much amount was there? More than 5 lakhs. Guarantor? 1 lakh. Here it is more than 1,000. Both places. So if you are nothing but a guarantor for the MSCS for more than 1,000, or you are indebted to the MSCS for more than 1,000, then you are disqualified. How many disqualifications? 4. Tell me first. Body corporate. Second. Officer employee. Third. Partner employee or the officer employee. Fourth. Indebted or guarantor. Amount. 1,000 is wrong. Why is correct? Because I hope if it is up to 1,000, that is no problem. Problem if it is more. There is not a problem if it is less. Is this much okay?
Yes.
Come on, tell me entirely whatever I told up till now. Qualification, 1912, correct. Qualification. Any cooperative or any person was work as an audit in a corporate a part of the government is qualified to become an audit of a corporate society. Second. Appointment. Who are you? Report to whom? Come on. Decided by, spread by, then we go to MSCS. MSCS qualification. CA and a diploma in corporate work. So any person who's worked as an officer. CA but not practice. COP is required. Disqualification is not there. 2, 5, 1, second, And then securities. In that, more than 5 lakhs. Oh, up to 5 lakhs. More than 5,000. More than? Guarantor more than 1 lakh. More than 1 lakh. More than 10 lakh. More than? What about appointment? Who will appoint?
First auditor.
First auditor by the DOD within 2 days. 1 month from your date. Oh, date of registration. What about subsequent? By the members. Oh, in the where? AGM. What is the term? From the date of appointment to the next AGM. First auditor, first AGM, thereafter next. Is this okay? Will you try yourself? Correct. Come. Textbook. Please come. Where are you taking us? Don't worry, I'll take you to the right place. Page number 517 class, and again you will see some things remain to be done. The heading. Heading is down. I told you last time, so there's a problem with this. Heading should be down. If you come there, what you have to read is auditor. You have to read this. Who can be appointed and who appoints auditor? Obviously, you are not there in both of them. But that is a rule. I know. Shut up, read and mark. All in order. That's it. That's it. What is about to start? Let me go to change over. What an extension. Too much love. Hey, you read. This much done. Yeah. Now done. Yeah. Scared. इतना झटका नहीं लगा उधर. Shall we come down, 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 down. 523, please. If you come to 523, you will find point 9.1.2 versus audit of a multi-state cooperative society, MSCS. Did you find it? Come on, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, dear. On 8. Ah, please tell me hire purchase is done. नहीं मेरे को नहीं आता जाने दे वो तो हो गया ना और कितना पड़ा है now listen you know what is hire purchase apart from the spelling you know what is leasing then I don't have to teach you don't know and what happened you know hire purchase transaction this is what you correct. Can I say there are two parties? One is the hire purchase buy. Other is the hire purchase seller. Sometimes it is known as a vendor also. Whether it's a vendor or seller, meaning is one and the seller will give something to the buyer. What? That is known as hire purchase assets. The buyer will give something to the seller. Installments, which are known as hire purchase installments. But this will happen over the term, which is known as hire purchase term. Anybody has a doubt here? Say for example, ultimately, Roma, and say you are the buyer, and you go to seller. Say you want to buy something. Say for example, you want to buy a new iPhone, for example, 13 Max Pro. And say ultimately now that is costing nothing but ₹1,00,000. So you went to Chroma, you are like, I want to buy this. They are like ₹1,00,000. You're like, oh, that is too costly. So no now. So ultimately you told no, I will pay install. So can I say obviously you are going to pay installments to Chroma. Can you tell me, supposing say there are 6 installments. When will you become the owner?
The last.
After you pay the so on the payment of the last installment, my simple question is the ownership transfer.
Yes.
Transfer from whom to whom? From the correct. Now, supposing you are the auditor, you are auditor from whose point of view? Correct. It is you are auditor of what? Chroma. So from Chroma's point of view, we have to answer. Now do you understand? Acha. Now what all will you check? So simple here. What all will you check? Tell me. Correct. The credit worthiness of the buyer, whether he was actually worthy to be given the credit or not. Then what will you check? Installments due, number of installments due, when they are due, amount which is due, whether it is received or not, hire purchase agreement, whether it is signed by the both the parties or not. If at all the installment was due, but it was not received, then I realize whether the steps for recovery were taken or not. Thereafter, in fact, if at all they don't give installments, I realize you can also repossess the goods. It is known as goods repossessed. Who can repossess? Correct. So ultimately, whether the goods were repossessed or not, whether there is a proper sanctioning authority or not. Are you understanding? All these things you have to check in case of what? Hire purchase from the seller's perspective. Manageable? Let's go to leasing. What happens in leasing now? Correct. In leasing also there are two parties. Your AS 19 is done?
Yes.
Then you should know here. Can I say there are two parties? One is the lessor, other is the lessor. The lessor will give something to the lessee. What? Now this asset is known as a lease asset. In return, the lessee will give something to the lessee, which is known as rent, which is known as, but this is over the term, which is known as lease term. So what is a lease transaction? Where one party, the lessor, will give an asset to the lessee in return of rent. Supposing if I tell you it is a 36-month lease, example. So can you tell me that at the end of the 36 months, whenever the rent is paid, my simple question, will the lessee become the owner?
No.
Huh? No. Why? Ownership is not transferred. Exactly. That's the main difference between what and what? Hire purchase and leasing. Now, say you are the auditor of what? It means you are auditor of hire purchase companies and leasing companies. So now who has given the asset? Your client has given the asset to the lessee. What will you check? Correct. You will have to check the lease agreement. The asset which was actually given, that asset you will have to verify. Then, correct, the number of rents, whether rents were properly received or not, when they were received, whether they were actually received or not. There may be a chance where certain rents were not paid. Again, if the rents were not paid, goods can be, and if you repossess the goods,
And the
there is also nothing but transportation expenses which take place. Then that transportation expenses are to be borne by whom? Lessee, correct. Sometimes at override there are also insurance charges, etc., which are to be paid whether those insurance has been taken or not. Only that, here also what you'll have to check is which worthiness, credit worthiness, whether that customer was worth giving the credit or not. Can I say definitely there is too much of similarity in points between, but definitely the entire concept is different, but the main part is different. Apart from that, the points are very, very similar. All cool? Come, textbook. Comes on, it's important. Comes for 4 to 5 marks each. There behind it. I want you to come to page number 529. And if you come to 529, this many points from here till here, this is regarding your hire purchase. Come on, read it please. This much. Read it carefully, please. Hire purchase is fine. Thereafter, you have leaching. They have not mentioned it as a separate, but here you can see now this is for which transactions? Leasing transactions. So from there you will have to read till here. Actually, you know there is also something known as subletting. What is subletting? The lessor gave it to the lessee. Lessee gave it to someone else. That is known as. Is subletting allowed?
Yes.
Provided.
The
Correct. The lessor does not have any problem. It means you'll have to take the permission. That is, the authority should be there of the lessor. If there is no authority of the lessor, then subletting is not. So auditor will have to check if by the lessee there was subletting done, then whether the authority was taken and the permission was taken of whom. Else it cannot be done. All cool? That also point will come. Read it. Definitely manageable. Once you know both of them, then it is not an issue. Then it is very, very fast. Come here, shall we? notes of HP and V's. You really want that? But short, I think. That's it. See this, you can take one if you want. This is better. You want, you can take down, your wish. They want it, so I'm keeping for them. It is nothing but higher purchase leasing, whatever is to be checked, I've just written nothing but in terms of nothing but points, wherever there is same, I've done 1 to 1. इसी को चलाएं इसके बाद धन्य screenshot. Something on earth, so you write. Screenshot. क्यों?
Left side of the right.
Under what? Which receipt? Repossess है वो, received के लिए. Repossess, less. Subletting not allowed. Authority चाहिए और less. Done. Yeah. Last 30 seconds, class. Okay, done. Okay, come. Can I say if we come to our list, we are almost done. We get nothing but LLP now. LLP is actually covered in your company law. Your law is done, no?
Other law.
Okay. Only thing that we have to do is basically there you will learn about LLPs also. But here what you have to learn are the regulatory filings. What do you mean by regulatory filings? What do you mean by regulatory? Requirements of law, correct. So there are certain regulatory filings which a LLP has to conduct. It means ultimately you will have to submit nothing but certain solvency certificates which the ROC, Register of Companies. So this has to be submitted by the LLP to the RO. That regulatory filings, what are the timing? That is what we will have to understand. Textbook, come. I'll show one by one. I want you to come to only page number 528. If you come to page number 528, what you'll find there is regulatory filings. Did you find it? Okay, see. Firstly, an LLP shall be under an obligation to maintain the annual accounts reflecting true and fair view. Oh, we should. Thereafter, they say that statement of account and solvency in prescribed form. Which form? That is given down. That is given in this point and this point. Has to be filed every year by the LLP with the registrar. Firstly, every LLP would be required to find an annual return. In which form? Form 11, correct. With whom? ROC. Within how many days? 60 days. 60 days from closure of the financial year. And this annual return will be available for public inspection. That is okay. It is like if you want to see that, then on inspection, you can pay the fees and you can inspect. Just like the shareholders can inspect the books of accounts. Like that only. So ultimately, first is which form number? 11. Submitted when? Within 60 days. From what? Closure of the what? Financial year. That is one form. There is one more. 8. Next step. Every LLP is also required to submit a statement of account and solvency. In which form? So see, this is the second form. Form 8, which shall be filed within how many days? 30 days from the end of 6 months of the financial year. Oh. So first it will be 31st of March. Then let 6 months go. So 30th September. From there, 30 days. So almost till nothing but October. 30th October. You understand what I'm telling? Repeating. How many forms are there? Two. Form 11, Form 8. Form 11 to be submitted to the ROC within 60 days from the closure of the financial year. Then it is very straightforward. Acha, then Form 8. 8 has a problem. 8 is very late. This is how you have to remember. I'm not mad that I'm telling like that. This is within 60 days. That is 6 months and then 30 days. So it is 30 days after the closure of the 6 months. That is completion of the 6 months. Is this okay? So Form 8 is late. Form 11 is now. 30 days. All cool? This they ask in the exam for 2 marks correcting. Form 8 is to be submitted by the LLP to the ROC within 30 days from the closure of the financial year. Oh, sorry, within 60 days from the closure.
6 months.
6 months is also wrong. It is within 30 days from the end of 6 months of the financial year. Is this okay?
Yes.
Mark this if you have not done. Karo. Your entire law is left or only company law? Chala done? Okay. And then if we come back to our scope, where is the scope? Oh, can I say everything is? But there is one more. This is wrong. Objectives of local bodies. Local body. What do you mean by local body? Correct. It's basically the municipality. Municipality. What do you have municipality here? What do you call it? Greater Chennai Corporation. GCC. Yeah, like that. So what are the objectives of that? That is what you have to answer. If you are the auditor of say of a local body, you will have to check whether the objectives of the local bodies are achieved or. So can you tell me what all points will you check in local bodies?
Taxes collected.
Taxes collected, welfare, grants.
Public hygiene.
इसको बोला था ना मेरे लेक्चर का हाइजीन चला जाता है whether the money which has been received by nothing but the local body, whether it has been applied for the purpose for which it has been raised or not. Not only that, whether ultimately that true and fair view is there in the financial statements or not, whether there is any system to detect the frauds or not, whether there is adherence to the following the laws and regulations or not, and whether the money which is spent, whether it is resulting into nothing but the objectives achieved or not. It's manageable, yeah. It's not that difficult. So books of accounts, true and fair view, systems, laws and regulations following that is adherence, and whether the money is spent or whether they are giving nothing but the proper purposes. All good? Where is the answer? It is in the notebook. Okay, you should show that first. Okay, I'm showing you. Local bodies. See, this is the answer.
Fairness of the financial statements, strengths and weaknesses of the systems, adherence to laws, that is legal and or administrative requirements, whether value is fully easy for the money spent, and detection and prevention of fraud and misuse of resources.
All good? Copy.
It is not good.
It's writing.
Optimum utilization of resources. From standard 11, the only advantage that you know. Anya. It's a nice thing. Very nice thing. I liked it. फोटो लेना है क्या? तो हो गया बाकी छोड़. क्या कर रही है ये लड़की? ऐसा है. अरे वो गिर जाएगा. Right thing, man. Ah. Ah.
Now, everybody done now? Ma'am, left? Okay. ma'am. Once you are done, tell me. Okay, so what I want you all to do is, one second. Okay. You all have written that scope of the chapter, no? Have you written the references? You have to write like this. This one notebook, ये screenshot क्या रे? ये तो लिखा है ना तुमने? हर एक चीज का screenshot. Exam also you will do screenshot only. You will tell to the examiner, come I will give screenshot. Right? No? Screenshot it seems. अरे ये दिमाग का shot है. Screenshot. Screenshot. क्या चाहिए? तो क्यों कुड़कुड़ कर रहे हो? क्या बोल रहे हो? ऐसा थोड़ी हो सकता है. इन लोग ना बोले ऐसा. This page numbers right properly, yeah? Yes, so thanks for coming. Other than these, whatever are the points which is there in cooperative society regarding books of accounts, investments, etc., that you just have to give it a read nicely. Whatever is the most important part, which is qualification appointment, we have already considered. So that is not to worry. But other than that, definitely you'll have to give it a read. Come on, you're done. Yeah. ये कल क्या हो गया? Tomorrow you have exam. Hey, Danya. Can I say with this, chapter number 13 stands for? So what is the chapter remaining now? Take a fresh page. Come to the notebooks. Take a fresh page. Yoga, hey. But I don't start today, start tomorrow. You break now. Obviously. Obviously. Very. It's a very small chapter. It will take 1.5 hours to finish the chapter. Take a fresh page.